Chapter 6. She really did go back down the memory lane, and after an hour being stuck in Manila's heavy traffic, at last she was back again at her old university. The guards let her in, though she had to come up with a lie about her reason for visiting the school when they asked what year she graduated there. She told them that she would want to request a copy of her transcript of records. 10 years after, one of the guards asked, looking at her ID on his hand and glancing back at her. Jewel forced a smile. I need it for flight documentations. She quickly answered. You know how it's tough to get through NAIA these days. This was not a lie. The city's main airport represents nothing but endless lists of rigorous requirements, making you go back really down that memory lane just to get a hold of copies, validating you're valid, while making sure you're valid, if this makes sense. The guard smirked and nodded. All right. You remember your way in? Jewel heaves a relieved sigh. Clear as yesterday. Later, she walks past the rush of college students, some giving her a curious glance, some greeting her good morning, thinking she was a faculty member here or something. She feels out of place all of a sudden, and sensing more curious stares, she takes off her blazer and continues her way to the registrar. She still remembers where it was, of course. Only there were visible changes around the campus she used to know back in the day. Like an invisible map clearly painted in her mind. It got bigger. There were more basketball courts than before. Classrooms stretched far longer, extending to another than she last remembered. And what used to be an easier path to the offices she knows, principals, guidance team, library, looks complicated to locate than how she remembered them last. These changes will not do her good in finding Nathan. Gathering her bag, she went on scouring the university offices, carefully crossing past the ground where a basketball game is currently ongoing. By the time she found the registrar's office, she was breathless. The afternoon's warmer than usual, and even taking the blazer off doesn't seem to help. She smiled a little on her own, seeing the familiar empty line leading up the counter, a memory flashing right before her eyes. This is where she first met Philip. She looks out to the transparent window and debated quietly with herself whether she is really doing this. But her feet failed her mind as she reached on the first counter, a window opening at her approach. A gray-haired lady's head popped out, curiously looking at her through her thick, dark, bordered spectacles. May I help you? She puts on a weary smile. Yes, I think you may. It took her 10 minutes to explain, yet later it only took 4 words to keep her morale down at finding Nathan. No, we can't do that, was the exact words that Marta, the old gray-haired lady from the counter earlier, said, shaking her head in a gesture of disapproval. I'm sorry. University's policy. We don't give students personal information out of random reason. But please. Jewel pleads patiently. I just need to know his schedule. Probably for just today or tomorrow, and that's it. She heaves a desperate sigh, looking straight at the old lady, wishing she could have made a better plan to find Nathan out without being questioned. I just need to talk to him. You're not his friend. You're not related. Anything I may share with you, even if it's just his schedule, puts him and his information at risk. Marta shakes her head. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. Jewel wins. How would she explain this? A 30-year-old woman like her, wanting to talk to a younger college guy in search of a man she missed appreciating 10 years ago. How? How would she understand? How would she make the lady understand? She looked firmly back at Marta, wondering how she would pull the situation off. Well, okay, here's my ID. She pulled out a thin card from her wallet, placed it on the counter. I meant no harm. And I'm not going to do anything that would harm him. And I don't want to harm anyone. I mean, who would? She bit her lip. She's rambling. Of course she is. Oh no, this isn't going anywhere good. Marta shakes her head once more. Still, I can't. Policy. Please, I just need to talk to him. She grabbed Marta's hand on the counter, not actually caring anymore if she comes off desperate. Please, it's very important. Marta somberly looked down at their joined hands and pulled it away. I'm sorry. She closes the transparent window, and Jewel watches as the old woman shakes her head. She exhales a deep sigh, unsure of what to do next. She looks out to the wide campus outside, wondering how in the world would she meet Nathan sooner, out of all these hundreds of students. She looks down, closes her eyes in resignation. Just as she opens them and heads back to the exit, the transparent window in front of her opens up again. What's his name again? Her brows raise in surprise. Marta's looking at her impatiently. Come on, I don't have all day. What's his name again? Jewel exhales a laugh of relief and quickly recited Nathan's full name in enlightened spirit. Marta types on her keyboard, a few clicks on her mouse, and next she was squinting at the screen. I wrote down your name and your details, so if anything happens to Nathan in the next following weeks, I'd have the police at your doorstep. Believe me, I did that before. But you don't have to know how. Or why. Or when. Anyway, do you understand? Marta said, a mere threat in her voice. She nods. Yes, ma'am. He's on the basketball training right now. Right down there on the court. She whispered, looking around to see if anyone's been listening. There was none nearby. The game usually ends by 5, so you have to hurry now down there so you could catch him. You could ask around for him. If you can't, you can find them in the players' quarters, but that's situated in the far back before building B and a left-facing building C. I got it. She answered, finishing Marta's sentence, her memory fresh. Marta's brow turned into knits, looking curious once again. You're a student here before, weren't you? Jewel smiled reluctantly. Yes. 10 years ago. A surprised look swept over Marta's face. Good grace. Good amount of time, I tell you. Marta dismissed her mouse, curious. How in the Splitstones heck are you doing back here? Her eyes softened as Philip's face flashed through her mind. I left my heart out here. She scoffs at how cheesy it sounds. Marta's eyes glared amusingly. It's a long story. Jewel reaches for the lady's hands once again. Thank you again. I promise I'm not gonna do anything wrong. I just really need to ask Nathan something. For the first time since earlier, a smile creased through Marta's lips and she returned the pressure on their hands. I'll take your word for it. She motioned towards the ground. Now go. Catch him. With a laugh, she bid her goodbye and quickly head off to the court grounds. The cheers and shouts gets louder as she gets closer. The sun was slowly fading, yet its rays still burns to the skin, and she has to touch a palm up her forehead to keep her eyes away from being blinded from them. The wind was cooler, less humid. Nothing of what she experienced earlier. She's finally on the grounds and she scanned the area. There are a lot of students there, all in their white shirts and blue jogging pants. They're divided into groups, off to one side and another. From her left, away from the court, there were students playing badminton, and next to it, some girls were taking turn in smacking the ball in a game of volleyball. A group of girls in blue skirts were cheering heartily on the players on the court, flashing their yellow pom-poms. A game is still in play, a dozen young men dribbling their way to the basket, passing the ball over to another in the goal of making points before the time runs out. One of them must be Nathan. She tried to remember his face online and looks out for him across the running man. She walks a little closer as the referee calls out a foul. Two players were separated cordially. The ball was instructed to be passed to the other team. They all stopped, and so did a familiar face and a tall figure from moving a few meters away from her. She narrows her eyes and studies the guy's features. He was tan, lean, brown-haired, and fair. Broad shoulders stretched out effortlessly on his jersey. All the same with Nathan she saw on Facebook. Her heart starts racing, and she walks a little closer as Nathan's face became clearer. Nathan? She said to herself, still walking. Nathan! The same tall guy now looks at her, and a sudden strange look came across his eyes. Nathan! She called once again, now loudly, and when she's sure she got his attention, she shouted, I'm Jewel! The one you sent the letters to? A spark of recognition glows through his face. You're Jewel? The Miss Jewel Santos? She nodded, and his face lightens up and he excels in disbelief. Wow, this is great. This is really, really great. I mean, I've been trying to find you to talk about the letters and... Hey, Nate, watch out! He looks on the side and suddenly a ball out of nowhere hit his face, and he lost his balance and falls to the ground. His surprised teammates surround him in concern, muttering apologies. Jewel ran to him, and despite the curious stares, the guys let her through. She lowered herself to the ground, touched a hand on Nathan's shoulder. Hey, are you alright? His red face beams up, looking at her wearily underneath the sunlight. Can I, uh, can I buy you a drink?